Welcome to OnCore Live and to our special Electrification Revolution webisode. I'm your host, Robin Bell, and we've got some great interviews coming up today. Specifically, the events and advancements tied to electric vehicles and the impact this ever-evolving segment has for all those involved in the transportation value chain. It's an incredibly exciting time with an array of opportunities for your business. And today's OnCore Live guests are at the forefront of all things EV. As a reminder, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the broadcast, but you can certainly send those questions to us throughout the broadcast, and we'll address them at that time. And please post those questions in the Q&A tab on your meeting toolbar and not in chat. During today's OnCore Live, we're going to talk to Bill Visnic, Editorial Director of Mobility Media from SAE International. Bill's going to offer his insights into how the electrification revolution is impacting the automotive topics SAE is covering through its media channels. Bill is a wealth of EV and automotive information, and we're really glad he could spend some time with us today. Then we're going to talk with Max VanRaaphorst, Avery Dennison Performance Tape's Business Development Manager for eMobility and Automotive. Max is going to preview all of the event activities that are offered by Avery Dennison at the upcoming Battery Show. In addition, next month in August, Max is going to give a webinar titled Battery and Beyond, and he's going to share what you can expect from this webinar. To get us started today, Shamara Ray, the event director for Informa Markets-Engineering and the Battery Show, is going to share an overview of the Battery Show taking place from September 12th through the 14th in Novi, Michigan. She's going to give us information on the exhibitors, educational sessions, and contact opportunities to meet the who's who in the EV battery marketplace. This promises to be a very exciting event. And with that, I want to say welcome to OnCore Live, Shamara. We are very glad that you could be with us today.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this will be fun. So Shamara, why don't we begin by having you introduce yourself to our audience? And if you could tell us about your responsibilities with Informa and the Battery Show.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, I am the event director for the Battery Show and the Electric and Hybrid Vehicle Technology Expo. And just to give a little background information, I have been in the event space for many years. I won't say how many, but quite a few, doing and managing events in a variety of industries. So finance, healthcare, technology, you name it. And one thing that I do love about being in this space is that you get to see from year to year, when you put the right people in the room together, they can really shape and drive the industry forward. And we see that with the Battery Show. And so with Informa Markets-Engineering, my role is to build the strategy for the Battery Show and the EVT Expo, as well as work with my team on making sure that our attendees have the best overall event experience. I also am very key in our partnerships, as well as making sure that we have an engaged as well as informed battery community.
And it's been a great show in the past. I expect nothing less than this year. Can you give us a few specifics about the Battery Show and what attendees can expect to experience this year?
Absolutely. So the Battery Show is kicking off in 8 weeks. I want to say that because it's important. We want people to know that it will be returning sooner than you think. 8 short weeks will be in Novi, Michigan for the Battery Show. And you know, it's an end-to-end business event where folks can really come in and see the latest technology, hear from the wonderful dynamic speakers sharing their insights on some of the industry trends. We have over 15,000 attendees last year. So we are really anticipating that this year will exceed that number, and we're looking forward to welcoming everyone. So whether we're dealing with engineers who are coming in just to see some of the sessions, or even just some of the academics coming to show off some of their latest research, we have tons of people who will be joining us to talk about automotive, aerospace, EV and HEV, you name it. We're talking about a lot of things, and there's a lot of information that will be disseminated.
Yeah, you'll be covering a great deal during that show. It's a good opportunity. So the battery show this year boasts a number of relevant themes. Can you describe a few of those themes for our viewers?
Absolutely. One of the things that we tend to do from year to year is really make sure that we drill down and talk to our attendees to hear what direction they want the event to take. So we're going to be talking about everything from battery safety, which you know is front of mind for manufacturers, OEMs, regulators, you name it. We're going to be talking about battery design, battery manufacturing. When you come to the battery show, there's nothing you won't hear. We have over 200 sessions. We have over, or I should say 100 sessions and 200 speakers. We have 3 full days of educational content. We have content on the show floor. So there are theaters, there are new product showcases. There's a lot to learn and a lot to hear when you come to the battery show.
So a lot of opportunities, a lot of educational programs that are going to be happening. This is great. So what's the registration process, and is there a cost to attend the battery show?
Well, the good thing is we have a lot of flexibility in terms of the registration. So whether you want to come for all 4 days, there's a pre-day workshop on September 11th, that's Monday. And then we have 3 full days of sessions. So you can either register for an all access pass, you can register for a 3-day pass, 2-day pass, 1-day pass, or an expo only pass, which is free for attendees. And again, I just want to reiterate that when you attend the battery show, there's so much to do. We have a lot of things to see. We have a lot of activities. It's not all education. There's plenty of networking. So people can come and meet with their peers, whether it's over drinks during networking receptions or whether it's during our Oktoberfest, which we're bringing back this year. There's plenty to do, but we do want folks to register early. There's an early bird registration that's currently in place until August 4th. So you want to make sure you get your registration now. But again, the expo is free and we do want folks to come and bring your colleagues as well.
So depending upon how much time anybody has to attend the show, they could pretty much tailor it to their specific need. You're offering a lot, and Oktoberfest should be a lot of fun. Why don't we finish up with this? There's been some early buzz about upcoming changes that are going to impact the 2024 show. What, if anything, can you share with us about these changes?
Well, Robin, what I can share today is that we have some exciting news that we will be announcing on September 12th. And I encourage everyone to register so that they will be there and among the first to hear this exciting news. That's the only teaser I can give at this point, but it's really exciting for the future of the battery show.
Okay, we'll keep it quiet until then. This was great, Shamara. I'm certain that you've piqued the interest of our audience here today on why they should attend this show. It's an absolutely great opportunity, as you've been hearing about. Once again, to learn more and to register for your pass, visit thebatteryshow.com. Thanks again, Shamara.
Thank you.
As a reminder, we are going to have a Q&A at the end of this broadcast, but you can send questions to us anytime during the broadcast. And again, please post those questions in the Q&A tab on your meeting toolbar. SAE is a leader in connecting and educating engineers with a focus on aerospace, commercial vehicle, and automotive engineering. Today, editorial director Bill Visnic is going to share with us how the electrification revolution is changing how he and SAE are shifting their editorial coverage along with the trends and insights that he sees. Bill, welcome to OnCore Live. I'm really glad that you're here with us today.
Thanks, Robin. I appreciate being here. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, so am I. All right, here's a question for you. Why don't we begin by having you introduce yourself to our audience, and would you give us a background into the publications that you serve in the mobility space?
Sure. My name is Bill Visnic. I'm the editorial director at SAE International. For those who don't know, SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers, and it is a 200,000 member unit globally that has represents engineers, technical experts, and volunteers all over the globe who are working on mobility solutions and standards to use all over the world, really, in the transportation sector. So we are involved in just about every aspect that you can think of in terms of mobility engineering. And my group is responsible, or we're sort of the in-house journalists, if you will, of SAE International. So we publish two different magazines for automotive, automotive engineering, and ADAS and autonomous vehicle engineering, as well as a commercial vehicle related magazine called Truck and Off Highway Engineering.
So you're getting us all the latest information. You know, it seems like all the automotive manufacturers actively engaged in the EV marketplace. When you look at the increasing awareness of EV, including the positive attributes and the challenges, how does this impact what you're covering?
Well, look, I mean, you can see the lead image that we have here is the new Volkswagen ID Buzz electric battery electric van right next to the old the iconic one that just about everybody knows from one way or another, whether it's beach bum movies, or they live in California and see these all the time. But what's really happening, Robin, is, and look, everybody knows this, you're probably not watching this webinar and not know this, but the entire propulsion system, really, of light vehicles and to some degree commercial vehicles as well, is rapidly changing to battery electric and propulsion to clean up emissions, to increase efficiency and improve the overall kind of global sustainability footprint of personal transportation. So it's really touching the entire industry, but it really is deeply affecting the manufacturing part of automotive and commercial vehicle manufacturing. Because look, an engine and everything that's associated with it, there's hundreds and thousands of parts, that's all changing, and everybody is trying to keep ahead of this as they really transform their businesses, including Avery Dennison's, to address what is happening right now and how vehicles really are changing in terms of what it means to not just consumers, but to everybody in this business when you've effectively turned the propulsion system into something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be very overwhelming, everything that's happening, and as rapidly as it's happening. For our converter audience, can you describe what you're seeing in terms of opportunities for EV battery packs and the use of adhesives?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, the EV battery pack, and here we've got an image of a integral motor, drive motor, a traction motor, transmission, and some power electronics there too. All these things now are being packaged in a way that's entirely new. They're any number really of new NVH signatures to deal with on the vehicle, whether it's from the propulsion system itself or the battery pack, which also brings a entirely new set of challenges, really, in terms of sealing, isolation, attaching it really to it and its ancillaries to the chassis. All these things really have changed in terms of NVH in particular. What you're going to see, and we're seeing right now, is a move towards trying to understand, and this is happening a lot in simulation and in other CAD/CAM programs now, where you look at a vehicle overall NVH signature and you say, wow, we don't have an engine in there anymore, an exhaust system and the hang-on systems, the fuel systems and all those things. And so that all made noise before that covered up a lot of other noises, So now that those engine noises have been largely removed and replaced by something with an entirely different pitch and a much lower sort of overall noise signature in a traction motor, wow, what do we have to do now to seal for wind noise, to seal for road tire noise, suspension noise, even things before that nobody really had to worry about because you weren't hearing that stuff, or you weren't feeling that stuff. And so now you've got all manner of new challenges, I think, that come to the industry, whether it's performance tapes or any number of NVH solutions that who knows? We don't even know what we don't know yet. So good luck. It's going to be a great time, I think, for a lot of businesses and a lot of innovators to really start to solve some of these problems.
Which just, in my mind, just opens up all kinds of opportunities. I mean, as you say, we don't know what we don't know. There are all kinds of opportunities.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and there's certainly a lot of potential for opportunities, I think. So as EV adoption increases with consumers, where have you identified the earliest adopters of EV technology?
Well, there's a couple of prongs to this one, I think, Robin. First of all, we've got on the screen here a couple of issues of our Autonomous and ADAS Engineering magazine. And there's a real sort of parallel kind of development with autonomous vehicle engineering, because the presumption really for the most part is almost anything that's autonomous or has a high level of driving automation is probably going to be an electric vehicle as well, just because all these systems are so collaborative and so intermingled that you're not going to see a lot of internal combustion vehicles in that realm. So these two paths are sort of running concurrently: electric vehicles in automation and high level of automated driving. So you're seeing that. But what you're also seeing, and you've got on the left there a truck that's pictured, really, really important sector right now for automation as they try to address, for over-the-road trucks in particular, driver shortages, regulations, things that are really impacting the driver aspect of commercial vehicles. And we've got a bus here too, for instance, and those things, commercial vehicles that run on very fixed duty cycles, let's say, or even a big off-road vehicle in a mine somewhere or something that runs on a loop that's sort of fixed and continuous. Really good opportunities there, not just for automation, full automation, but also maybe as electrification, depending on what it's what the demands of the job are. But both very important aspects of the commercial vehicle market that I think are kind of running concurrently and mutually supportive.
And all of this is moving as we're talking about all this. It's all moving so fast. So, EV, we're talking about this, EV is changing the landscape of the evolution. So what are we seeing? What are you seeing in these trends?
Sure. On the screen right now, we've got an interesting graphic here that's meant to indicate, what's really going on in terms of high level electric vehicle development. It's all over the place in terms of who's developing artificial intelligence, machine learning aspects that all really, Robin, get wrapped into now what we're calling software-defined vehicles. And everybody's got a little bit of a different definition of what that necessarily means to, someone out in the industry. But what it really means in the business itself is, as increasing electrification comes to every aspect, not just the propulsion system of a vehicle, but to the suspension, to the to the other major parts of the vehicle that are still related to hardware, we're going to see software increasingly sort of defining and tuning those systems so that to such a point that you'll have the possibility, let's say, to run an entirely different suspension tuning this morning than you did yesterday afternoon, if that's your choice. You can just do that through a downloaded over-the-air software update to your suspension. Change the power characteristics of your motor, all kinds of things. And again, we don't know what we don't know yet, I think, in some senses here of what we're going to be able to do. But really, when you get into the cabin as well, is where software is going to really start to shape our experiences and what you're able to do in the cabin while you're traveling. Not just the passengers maybe, but also the drivers too. So software-defined vehicles really going to be a word that's or a term, I guess I should say, that's going to be top of mind, I think, for several years as we really start to uncover what all we can do with software.
Yeah, the potential is amazing. This was really fascinating. I'm so glad that you spent time with us to help us make sense of the EV revolution and autonomous revolution, if you will, and the impact that it's going to have on all of us. Thank you for this, Bill. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Robin.
Now, Bill's going to be back with us to answer your questions during our Q&A later in the broadcast. Feel free to post those questions in the Q&A tab on your meeting toolbar. I'm sure you've got lots of questions. I certainly do. Joining us now is Max VanRaaphorst, the Business Development Manager, eMobility and Automotive for Avery Dennison Performance Tapes North America. Welcome to OnCore Live, Max. This is your first time on our web series, and I'm glad that you could be with us.
It is. Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, this will be fun. So first of all, congratulations on your new position with Avery Dennison. That's exciting. Would you start by telling us a little bit about your background and how you came to join Avery Dennison Performance Tapes?
Sure. So I was originally, before Avery Dennison, a business development / product manager at a structural adhesive company focused mostly on transportation. But I have a long history of technical sales, solving problems with engineers, and most of the solutions I had at my disposal were adhesives of some sort. So sticking things together to solve problems, make the world a little bit of a better place, was pretty much what I've been doing since I got out of college.
Your joy, your passion. So
Absolutely.
earlier, yeah, Shamara, she shared a lot of details about this year's battery show from an event perspective, and Avery Dennison Performance Tapes has plans for the show as well. Tell us what's planned at the Avery Dennison booth this year, if you would.
Absolutely. So this is like our Super Bowl. It's an exciting, vibrant show. We will be in booth 2237, and we're co-hosting with our RFID and labels kind of sister business units. But what's very exciting is we'll be introducing a couple new products specific to the industry. So new product launches are always a ton of fun to kind of show what problems we're solving. We also will have breakdowns of different parts with our materials on, and really highlighting at a high level what problems we can solve, because we think, when our converter network and ourselves provide the right materials, we get to save like an engineer and solve some big problems and get to wear superhero capes. Everyone wins. So you'll see different types of solutions, whether it's dielectric barriers and battery packs, providing electrical insulation, bonding and mounting of various different materials that you will see in battery packs, a little bit of track and trace elements, and then even solutions at the individual battery level. So we're super excited. It's a wonderful show, a lot of great networking, and pardon the pun, but you can definitely feel the electricity in the air.
Yeah, a lot of educational opportunities too. And will you be wearing your superhero cape, Max?
Don't know if that's an approved wardrobe accessory, but at least mentally I'll feel it for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, that'll do. That'll do. So Avery Dennison has created a special presentation just for converters on August 17th. This is really cool. Would you tell us a little bit about the webinar, the battery and beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to touch on some of the things that Bill talked about. So not only are there new applications opening doors for converters because of how EVs are constructed within the battery pack and module, but as Bill mentioned, you're removing a noisy combustion engine. So now, especially at low speeds, there's NVH concerns. That means for converters, you will see an increased demand in buzz, squeak, rattle solutions, which we can help provide. Different types of noises and targeting different frequencies. Even within the tires, we're seeing applications for die cut parts to absorb sound in road tires. Concurrently with the EV, we see this automation and an increased amount of ADAS sensors. And there's a whole host of die cut parts that go into mounting and putting some of these sensor packages together. So even if you don't have a single EV application, EV specific application, there's going to be increased demand for somewhat new converted parts, but also some of the traditional converted parts within traditional automotive applications.
And kind of as Bill said, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know what kind of opportunities are going to open up to you. So keep your eyes open. So Avery Dennison really does offer some great solutions for some of the EV battery challenges. Be sure, everybody, to attend the webinar to get a deeper dive, to see where you fit in, and maybe to get some of your questions answered as well. Hey, Max, thank you for all this information that you shared with us today and for joining us. How was it for you for the first time on OnCore Live?
That was absolutely delightful. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. It was really, really fun. So we're about ready to move into the Q&A with our guest speakers. But before we do, there is still time to submit a question for our guests. If you have a question, post it now in the Q&A on the meeting toolbar. We want to let you know that OnCore Live continues. Check your email inbox for an announcement on the late Q2 2023 OnCore Live. We now have our three guests back with us for our Q&A. Why don't we get started with the first question? Let me check here now. Okay, so this one is for Bill. With the transition to electric propulsion, will automakers continue to design and manufacture their own drive components, electric motors and transmissions, or will that work go somewhere else? Good question.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that one's pretty loaded right off the bat, actually, Robin.
Picture right between the eyes, didn't it, Bill?
Yeah, it's very interesting because, we're going to see a little bit of a mix of philosophies, I think, on that. There are many, I don't know many, but several automakers who already have decided, and, some of them publicly even expressing that they intend to develop their own drive motors and integrated transmissions that typically go along with them all as one unit, because they think that's a really vital piece still of the kind of the character, almost really, maybe, that they would still bring to an electric vehicle. Because look, one of the issues, I think, or at least one of the complaints that some detractors have about EVs is that they're a little bit soulless, right? They don't really have all those different inputs, tactile and sound aural inputs that you get from combustion engine vehicles. So it's important to do what you can, I think, with an EV to inject some character, some signature really into that. So a lot of automakers, it seems, are really trying to keep that close that work close to them and really be the governors of it, if you will, in terms of the directions that they want to go. At the same time, any number of large suppliers, global multinational suppliers, Bosch, Continental, Magna, just to name a few, that are actively developing really great integrated solutions of drive motors, some with axles, the entire sort of drive axle, if you will, integrated with a motor, power electronics, and an inverter to offer an automaker the opportunity to bring a component like that in and basically make it an electric vehicle just by attaching this electrified axle to one or both axles, ends of a vehicle. So you're going to see a mix of this, I think, in the future. And where it all shakes out will probably be somewhere between where it is now with internal combustion, where automakers still are pretty much in control of that. Most of the the large automakers anyway, at least, are still very much developing and manufacturing their own engines and transmissions, and a future where there'll be a mix more of automakers doing that for themselves, but also various suppliers at various tiers of the system making those for anybody who wants to use them.
Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, let's move on. Here, we didn't hit this, Max. How do we register for the August webinar?
Yes,
Battery
so definitely be sure to like and follow us on LinkedIn. We'll provide a link there. And we'll be sending out emails with where to register. So if you're attending this, likely you will get an email from us asking you kindly to please join us for that.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a really beneficial webinar to see. Shamara, okay, so this question is, I'm interested in specifically seeing new products at the battery show. How can I find them with over 700 exhibitors in the expo? I think they might be just a little bit overwhelmed by how much is going to be available. How can you help them out, Shamara?
Absolutely. So that is a great question. While we do encourage you to spend your time visiting as many exhibitors as possible, we also do have a new product showcase. So throughout the course of the 3 days, we will be demonstrating live in some of our exhibitor booths new products. So that's first. We'll have that list published. Also, we have a battery tech theater where we also have new products that will be showcased, new innovations that will be described, displayed. So there are ways to see specifically new products, but you do have to walk through the exhibit floor as well to see what new products are at each and every booth. So carve some time out, plan to spend 3 days looking at some of the latest dynamic innovations.
And as we talked about earlier, if they don't have 3 days, they can tailor how they do all of this by going to the website and seeing what you're offering for the.
They can, and you're right, Robin. They can also go to the exhibitor list now, and you can look at what the exhibitors have shared. There's a list of who's exhibiting, where their booths are. You can get in touch with exhibitors in advance, so you can start your process early before you get to the show floor.
That's some good information. Okay, let's see. What have we got here? Okay. For Max, besides tapes, what else will you be showing at the battery show?
Yeah, as mentioned, so we're co-hosting with some of our sister business units. So we'll have folks from our labels division showing some materials there. We will also have our RFID counterparts showing a little bit about some novel ways to track and trace and a bit of how we can look at batteries not only through the manufacturing process but also end of life. When a vehicle's near its end, what do you do with the battery? How do you track that data? What type of information is important? So we're going to have a variety of unique technology. There's a lot to kind of take in and learn. And we'll also have a lot of adjacent materials. So not just tape that we're highlighting, but what kind of new and novel materials are you going to see and potentially have to die cut or be asked to die cut to put into battery packs? Because there's a lot of new challenges with designing an electric vehicle.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day about something I'd never even really considered was end of life, battery life issues. So there's a lot. We probably got time for one more question. Let's see, what have we got here? Looks like, for Bill, what seems to be the most viable deployment path for self-driving technology?
Okay. We sort of hit this a little bit earlier on, Robin. I think right now, you're going to see it mostly deployed in some sort of commercial application, and I think the ones that we're most familiar with, you see every now, at least once a month or so, some of the latest news from like Waymo and Cruise and what's going on really in terms of driverless ride share or ride hailing operations. And it's it really is a use case that I think the rideshare companies, Uber, Cruise, Lyft, all them, they really are hoping that they can prove that out in rideshare applications where you have sort of a city center, let's say like San Francisco, where a lot of this testing is going on, and you can learn a lot about this very closed area. You can apply that all to the machine learning, to the artificial intelligence of your driverless vehicles, and really get a really robust performance portfolio, I think there in terms of a vehicle that really doesn't need a driver. Okay. You'll also see it, I think, and it's already in several pilot programs now, Robin, of hauling, various sizes of trucks in different sort of use cases. Some of them right over the road on public roads, others in kind of fairly confined areas like the Los Angeles port area, where it's really in a way a shuttle almost type of a situation where you can load a truck up. You can say, okay, here's point A. We need you to go to point B, and we don't really think we need a driver for that. You'll start to see an increasing number of those kinds of applications, I think, where the overall duty cycle maybe isn't real complicated or exceptionally challenging. For your everyday car, where people who think, oh, well, I want to just press a button when I back out of my garage in the morning and the car drive me to wherever I want to go, that's a little more challenging. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime necessarily soon.
Yeah, that's a wait and see game. I do want to, I saw this other question here, and I think this is really an important question for the battery show. And this one is for you, Shamara. Could you share any suggestions on how to connect with others while at the battery show? That can be an issue for some people. Do you have any information you can give Mike?
Absolutely. I could imagine it would be overwhelming trying to connect with 15,000 people, but we have simplified that process a little bit. Aside from being able to attend the networking receptions, Oktoberfest and such, you can also download the show app in advance. And through the app, you can connect with attendees. So whether it's other conference attendees, whether it's expo attendees, or whether it's the exhibitors, you can actually go in and do that in advance of the show, and you'll be able to connect with folks. But we do, of course, encourage you to have some FaceTime while you're there and chat with folks on the show floor and within the conference. But to make it easier, there is the app.
Yeah, that is going to make it easier, because sometimes people are, they're not quite sure how they go about connecting with other people. So this is really good. All of you, this was really wonderful. I had a great time talking to all of you. I'm sure there's 1,000 more, there are more questions. I'm sure there's 1,000 more questions I know I have and others do about this new world that we're getting ready to launch into, launched a little bit, but really getting ready to launch into. And I want to say that's it for this episode of OnCore Live. From all of us at OnCore Live, thank you for joining us today. And we're going to see you in September. Enjoy your summer.